All right. Hello, everybody out there, STRs. I'm Peter Douglas with the Educational Technology team here in DPS. I'm here with my colleague Erin Magley, who's monitoring the back channel for us. We're going to get into some Q&A soon. Here she is.
Hi, guys.
And also awesome technical help from Sam Garza.
Hey, guys.
In DoTS. He's got us all set up here with the webinar. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes. It's just 4:30. Wait for people to jump into our webinar, and then we'll get rolling. Nice. We've got some topics. While you're waiting, right down at the bottom of the screen, there's a link to a Google Slides Q&A. If you go to that goo.gl link, you can start seeing some questions that we kind of preloaded in there. You can vote those up with the thumbs up, and also you can type in your own questions. If you've got some real burning questions that you wanted to get answered today, please go ahead and type those into that Q&A link right down at the bottom of the screen. goo.gl/slides/NJ8J96. That's a new feature of Google Slides, if you don't know about that, where you can actually have a live kind of back channel question and answer part of the Google slide deck that people can actually be going into live while you're doing a Google Slides presentation and ask questions and vote them up and down. It's kind of cool. So we'll be talking about some of that stuff. So as you're hopping in, just go ahead and go to that link at the bottom of the screen there. Take a look at the questions we have. Type your own if you have those. And if there's a question that's like, ooh, I want to know more about that, hit the little thumbs up on that question, and that will raise it up in the list and let us know what you guys really want to learn about today. And this and most STR sessions this year are going to be recorded on webinar fashion. So if you know some colleagues who are like, oh, I just couldn't make this one, we're going to have an archive of those so people can go back and watch them later. So that's why we're doing it this way. So, do we have a few more people jumping in, Erin?
You know, all I see is David Estrada and Brian Johnson.
All right.
Can you, yeah, if anybody else is in there, just say hey in the chat.
Yep. If you're in the webinar, there should be a chat box over on the right. Just go ahead and type in your name there and make sure that you can hear us okay. And again, go ahead to that link down at the bottom here. The second link that says ask a question at Google Slides/NJ8J96. That's where you ask questions. The first link is a link to the deck that we're going to be going through tonight, and a resource deck for you as well with some information.
Yep, and I'm also looking at our slide deck to see who's there.
Cool.
So far, nobody's joined our slide deck.
Okay.
I'd love to see the STRs get in on our slide deck with the tiny URL as
Yep,
well.
and we'll be sharing the slides from that deck through this webinar shortly as well. We'll give folks about one more minute to jump in, and then we'll get going to honor the time of the people that came here promptly at 4:30. We appreciate that. And again, when you get a chance, go to that goo.gl link down at the bottom of the screen right here, and vote up or down some of the questions that you see in there so we know what questions you really want to learn about tonight.
Otherwise, we're just going to go through them in order.
That's right. We're trying to personalize it as best we can through a webinar, but it's a little bit challenging. So, all right, so it's 4:33. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to switch over to our deck here. Again, you can access this deck at tinyurl.com/strgoo1013, 1013, today's date. And that's, again, back here on our intro page. tinyurl.com/strgoo1013. All right. All right, here we go. So Google, it's out there. We've had it in the district for, 4 years now, Erin.
Yep.
And it's hopefully getting more traction. We're still surprised when we hear some teachers say, what, we have Google? Is that Gmail? No, okay. Anyway, we want to make sure we're promoting the use of this fantastic platform out there, and hopefully as STRs, you're more comfortable with it and you're able to support your staff and teachers at your schools with it. Again, we're going to be looking at that Q&A. So if you do have a question that comes up during this, you can go into that link and put some questions in there that you would like. So some current stats, we have 167,000 active DPS Google accounts. So that includes, wow, that seems like a lot. That includes staff and students across the district. Every student K-12 has a DPS Google account. And we've had over 5 million file uploads to DPS Google Drives. And currently there's 24 terabytes of Google Drive space used in our entire DPS domain. That's a lot. And one of the nice things about an educational Google domain is that there's no file storage limit, which is awesome. So store stuff, it's great. Let's see here. Got to make sure I'm on the right screen. One thing that's really useful to know as an STR, if you have an IC secretary who maybe doesn't know about this, you might want to let them know as well. When students register at your school, part of the registration packet includes a question that allows parents to opt their students out of a DPS Google account. That can be quite limiting to teachers that use that extensively, not having, if a student doesn't have access to that. They still have an account in the system, it just kind of throws the switch off so they can't log into it. And unfortunately, the way the registration packet is worded or was worded, parents were checking that box, thinking and not realizing by checking that they were opting their student out of their DPS Google account. You can run a report in Infinite Campus that shows you the status of all of your school's students, whether they're opted in or opted out, if their Google account is essentially on or off. It's a really nice thing, just in case your teachers are using Google and they're like, I've got this student, they just can't get in, to run that report and say, yep, they got opted out. If they are opted out, there's some parent letters that the teacher can also send home, English and Spanish wording, so that the parents can then reverse that decision and get their students opted back in.
So just pause and ask if anybody would like to see that process, because I remember you know how to go into IC and show them what that looks like.
So if you're in the webinar, in that little chat box on the right, if you're interested in seeing exactly the steps to get to that report, I'd be happy to show folks that right now.
So some people are having trouble in the chat. Cami is one of them, but I told her that as long as she's looking at the slide deck and in the Q&A, that would be good. So
okay.
Go ahead and vote up that question in the Q&A, everybody, if you're interested. If we get enough folks interested, we can do that. So 10 seconds. It's the third question from the top. Where can I obtain the IC opt-out report? Go ahead and mark that up if you're interested. Otherwise, we'll move forward with where to find those permission slips.
And again, if you're looking for that Q&A link, here we are. It's that goo.gl/slides/NJ8J96 on this screen right here. That's our Q&A link.
Okay, so far nobody has voted it up. I get the feeling folks may already know how to do that.
Right. And again, your IC secretary hopefully knows about that report as well. Kind of down and dirty on this slide, it shows basically in Infinite Campus, you want to go into Tools, and under Data Export in Ad Hoc Reporting, you're going to see a report that says Google Opt-out Students. You run that, it shows all the students in your building, and it'll say OPO for opt-out, OPI for opt-in. So you're looking for those OPO students. Those are the ones that have had their Google accounts deactivated. But you just might want to double check with those parents just to make sure, was this really your intention? This is a huge learning platform we use. It really would be to your students' advantage to be opted into their Google accounts. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. And again, on this next slide in our deck, you can find, if you do need to get those parent permission forms out to parents, you can get links here for both the English and Spanish version of those documents to get parent permission to reactivate and opt those students back into Google.
Just click on those briefly and show what that might look like. I think we have
Sure.
time.
So they're Google Docs, you can send these right out. They've got the DPS logo. It even explains what the Google account is being used for in DPS, so the parents really understand the value of it. It's a nice letter, so those can go out to parents.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. This has come up in a few of our STR gatherings. Some of our STRs out there have taken advantage of the form in our Google Apps called, the Google app called Google Forms in our toolkit, and to make their own kind of troubleshooting ticket system at their school. It's a really simple way to create a quick form, and then as your staff have questions, they're not dropping by your door, giving you a call, catching you in the hallway, saying, hey, can you come fix this? They know to use this ticket system to submit their requests for your technical help. I put a couple of examples here. We have one from Asbury. I'll just go to a couple of these. Really, really simple, and you can totally customize this. So this teacher chose to have them submit the teacher name, obviously, what room that teacher's in, the date that they're submitting the ticket, hardware that you are using. So this teacher really wanted to know, are we talking Mac, PC, Chromebook, iPad, Promethean board, or others, so she can kind of think carefully about the help that she's going to give. And then tech request. Please write your request below. And she even gives an example. Room 110 needs a new Promethean bulb, whatever it might be. And if they happen to know their computer name, if that's applicable, there's even a space for that. And this teacher also wanted to know the urgency of the request. That's kind of nice, because for teachers, pretty much everything's always, I need it now, but maybe it's medium urgency. I like even her descriptors here. And then when they submit it, it goes to you in a nice spreadsheet where you can see all the requests coming in, and then you can get to them and have a record of all those requests and do whatever you want to with that data. So the way Google Forms works, it flows all of those submissions into a Google spreadsheet in your Drive, so you can keep track of the status of those requests, if you responded to them, what was done, kind of nice thing. So we'd be happy to show you that at some point. It really is pretty easy to make a Google form. Again, if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing tonight in the webinar, that's one of our items in our Q&A. You could vote that one up and say, yeah, if you could just show me real quick how to do this. It really is quite simple. And you can make Google Forms for any sort of thing. If you want to survey your staff about anything or whatever it might be, it's a really handy tool in our Google toolkit.
Excellent. And as people are deciding if they're going to vote that up or not, Peter, do you want to take a look at the next example we have there, Edison
Sure.
Elementary?
Yep. So that was Asbury's ticket system. Here's one that the STR at Edison did. So again, place for a teacher name, the date of the request, even their phone extension. It says helpful but not necessary. Email. Okay. Their room number, hardware that you're using. Again, what platform are we talking about here? And then what is the nature of their technical request, description of the problem. And here it says, please describe the issue with as many details as possible, so you really know what's going on. Then they just hit submit, and again, it flows right into a spreadsheet where you can review those requests and get to them in the order that you deem necessary. So it's a nice system, and you can build this and totally customize it right within your Google account.
Excellent, thank you, Peter.
Sure thing.
It doesn't look like anybody is voting that up,
Okay.
so I don't suppose we need to spend any more time on it. But again, you need some help with this. We're great with Google and Ed Tech.
Yep. All right. A new feature I wanted to point out to you that might help both you and your staff members and your students actually is a new thing called DPS Google Apps Training. This is a feature, and we'll show you exactly what this looks like. It's built into our DPS Google accounts. And what they are, they're embedded tutorials that actually teach students and staff how to use the features inside all of our Google apps. It's like embedded in time, just in time training on whatever you want to learn about. And you're just going to look for this icon. It's this little circle wheel with the Google colors with a question mark in it. And we'll show you exactly where that is here. Let me see if I can get to that screen. Let me try this one. No. Let's see. How do I just get to a web browser here, Sam?
Can you help him just show his web browser?
If I just pop into that. Do I need to go out of presentation mode here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go to that screen. Scroll.
All right. So here we are in our Google slide deck. And if you look way up here in the right-hand corner, you see that little colored wheel with the question mark in it. And if I hover over it, it says DPS Google Apps Training. And if I click on it, a little sidebar opens up. And in a second, it shows you all sorts of different topics about learning about slides. And it's showing me information about slides because we're in a Google Slides deck. And if I click on this, what it shows me is little quick, most of these are less than a minute, tutorials. Introduction to editing and formatting slides, collaborating, create a new presentation. Let me go down a little bit more. Let's say I want to know how to, I don't know, use chat inside a presentation. I can click on that, and then over here, it starts to play a little audio file that actually teaches me how to use that feature in slides. So it'll load up here in a second. It's actually playing the audio, and you can read along here. And some of these show you a little video right here in the middle of the screen. Some will actually darken the screen and actually step you through step by step how to get to that feature. It'll show you the menu thing to click on, and it'll say, click here. So it'll actually teach the students, here we go. So it says to use this feature, click right up here. And it's actually waiting for me to click on the chat icon. And it's pretty cool. And it'll just keep going. And so these are super helpful. And the thing I like most about these, they are always up to date. As Google releases new features into all the Google apps, which they're constantly doing, this DPS Google Apps training stays up to date with those new feature releases, so you can make sure that you've got the most current information right there. And again, it's kind of context sensitive. So if I was in a Google Doc, for example, it would be showing me information about how to use Google Docs. You know, how do I make a table of contents? How do I insert an image? So it's great for both students and staff. So as staff are coming to you saying, hey, how do I do this? You might want to guide them to that first. I mean, obviously help them, but say, hey, you could be teaching yourself and not have to wait for me to come to your room after school to show you this by clicking this little circle wheel up here. And this should be available to all staff and student accounts. It only works in Chrome though, so another way to have your staff using the Chrome web browser, which we do recommend, which is the most stable browser for all the Google apps.
An interesting little fact about this is that it was developed and owned by a different company originally when it first came out, and Google realized that it was so helpful that they went ahead and bought out this company and kept their the icon and the tutorials and enhanced it quite a bit. So. Yep. It's really a great addition.
It's nice to be Google. You find a company that's doing great things. It's like, hey, come into the fold. We'll just buy you out.
We own
All right.
you now.
So that's DPS Google Apps training. So please share that with your staff. Let's see, what do we have next? And again, if you have questions about anything I'm talking about here, please put it into the chat area or into that Q&A section we have for our deck here. We wanted to make sure that you guys knew about the Educational Technology Department. Our job is to come out to your schools and provide fantastic PD for you and your staff on how to integrate all the technology that's flowing into your schools. So you can reach our entire department at educational_technology at dpsk12.org. That'll go to our whole department. We can respond to you. There's also a link here to a PD menu that we put out that gives you a sampling of some of the things we can do, but we try to be as up-to-date and flexible as possible. If you've got a group of teachers that are like into Google Classroom and trying to figure that out, we could come out and just work with that department or grade level team. It doesn't have to be a whole staff training all the time. We even do a fun thing called a tech depot, where 4 or 5 of us from our team come out and we actually do stations, and teachers can rotate between these quick stations, 15, 20 minutes, to learn about a whole bunch of different things. So it's not always just a sit and get, having to listen to whatever it is. They get to choose, they get to rotate. Teachers really enjoy that format a lot. So please reach out to us if you have some teachers, or tell your teachers to reach out to us as well. Let your admin know, your APs, if they're scheduling PD, professional development for your school. We talk to a lot of principals and APs that are like, I've got another green day coming up, I've got to make some PD, I don't know how to fill the day. Bring us out for an hour, 90 minutes. We'd be happy to share some fantastic stuff with you and your staff about how to really use these tools effectively in the classroom. Anyway, just a plug for us and what we can do for you. Again, we're looking at the Q&A. Again, if you have questions, please put those in there. One more new thing that we're trying out is our EdTech newsletter. We just started this in September. We're rolling these out. You can find a website with archive editions and the current edition there. And there's also a link on the website if you would like to sign up and subscribe to the newsletter so it comes out to you in the email. We try to put in just a couple of really important, useful kind of tech tips and items every month in that, just to kind of keep people up to date with some fresh things about how to use technology effectively in the classroom. So
could you go ahead and take them to that website?
I could take them to that
where
website.
Both of the editions are that we've started.
Yes.
They have Google Tips in there.
And this beautiful website was built by Aaron Magley in the new Google Sites, and we can show you that really quickly too. Google Sites has transformed dramatically. I don't know if you've ever used that, but what was kind of an old clunky interface is now a really nice, sweet interface, very easy to make things, beautiful integration with your Google content to bring in calendars, documents, whatever it might be. So here we are at the EdTech newsletter. We can look at the edition that came out last month. Again, just a couple of quick things in here. And we're actually looking for a good name for our newsletter. So if you'd like to win a $25 Starbucks gift card, click on that link and submit an interesting, fun, engaging name that we can name our newsletter instead of just EdTech newsletter. And if we choose your suggestion, you got some Starbucks there. So, and again, you can sign up for, let's see, where's the sign up here,
Yep,
Aaron?
the gray one right there.
Oh yeah. Did someone? Yep. Sign up right here if you want to get on our. If you haven't gotten this went out to a lot of teachers, so you might have seen this in your inbox already. But if for some reason you didn't, or if you think some teachers in your building might be interested, please send them this to this website, and they can sign up right there to get the newsletter in their inbox.
Show them our Google 3 ways to use Google in your classroom.
Okay. So those links will link out to set Google Docs with the tips. So here's just 3 quick tips on how to use Google in the classroom. Really cool things, images, how to use a template. So we're trying to make it relevant for teachers across all grade levels with some really useful tips that they can start to implement right away. So that's our DPS EdTech newsletter. And again, we're here to answer your questions. We don't have a lot more set content. If you'd like to see a certain Google app or have a specific question, please either use the Q&A in the YouTube area, or again, you can go to our Q&A page. Let me put that back up. It's this link down here at the bottom, goo.gl/slides/NJ8J96. If you go to that link, you'll get into our Google Slide Deck Q&A, and you can vote up some questions, and we can see exactly what you are interested in learning about.
You can also enter your own questions there, and you can do it with your name, or you can click the anonymous square, and it'll come through anonymously. We won't know who asked what question.
Looks like we did have one person would like to know more about the forms, using forms for an STR request. So I'll just go through that really quickly. It's really pretty easy. How to make a new form. So here. All right. So here I am back in in Google. Let's see. I think I'm in your drive though. Can I make a form in your drive, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's see. So here I am in my drive. Again, this is where you'd make any new Google document. So I go up to the blue New button. And usually you just see the three kind of standard things: a new Google Doc, Google Sheet, or Google Slides. You have to go down to More and slide over into this next box to find Forms. Here's where Forms hides. So again, I clicked on New, down to More, over to Forms. Oops.
And while you're there, this is also where you create a new Google site, by the way, and we'll look at that later. But.
True. Yep, Google Sites is down here as well. So Google Form, and then we get into the Google Form builder, so to speak. So you want to give your form a good title. So I could call it STR Help Request. And then you just start kind of populating what's called questions. And a question doesn't have to be, in question format. I could just type name. And then I have to choose over here what that question type is. So in forms, you can ask lots of different types of questions. There can be multiple choice, checkboxes, short answer. For a name, I'm just going to choose short answer because I just want a box there that they can type into. And down here at the bottom, I can choose if a question is required or not. If it's required and they skip that, it won't let them submit the form. A little box will pop up and saying you haven't filled in all the required sections. So I would, some of the essential information you want to make sure that they don't skip over. And then over here on the right is where I can add new pieces to the form. The plus sign pretty much is the quickest way to get to a new field or a new question. And again, maybe I want to know what platform they're using, hardware platform. And then if it's multiple choice, that's what's selected over here, then I have to put in what the choices are going to be. PC, Mac, Chromebook, iPad, and I suppose if you want to have an other, there's an option here to add an other thing. If you want to take any of these options away, you have little X's over on the side. Here's where I can add the other option that'll have an open field for them to type something else in. And again, I can choose for that to be required or not. So down and dirty, that's pretty much how it works. And then, in order for people to fill out your form, you have to click on the Send button up here in the upper right. So when I click on Send, then I can choose to email my folks, or I can click up here on the link, and I can actually get a link to this form. And that is probably what I would want to put in my email signature or send out to my staff to make sure that's the link that they're clicking on. You can make that a short link, of course, if you want to, using tools like tinyurl or Bitly, some of those link shortener tools. You can actually shorten it right here with the Google shortener, because Google has their own shortener. It's not super short still. Anyway, so you can choose to use that or not. But if people go to that link, then what they're going to see, and you can actually preview what this is going to look like for folks with this little eyeball icon up here. You can see what the form will look like on the receiving end, so to speak. So here's where they type in their name. Here are the choices of platform. Then they just click on Submit. So if I type in Peter, and I've got problem with a Chromebook, and I hit Submit, it says, hey, your response has been recorded. You can actually even customize what that says. It's like, thanks for, reaching out to me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, something like that. They can submit another response if they want to. If I go back to my form builder now, up here are my questions. Right now it shows me my responses, and oh, I've got one because I just filled it out. I can look at those responses right here in Forms and kind of see a summary or the individual responses. There's Peter, there's that. But the more powerful way, over here I have a little spreadsheet icon. And I can say create spreadsheet, and I can create a new spreadsheet. You can get really fancy and even have these responses flow into an existing Google spreadsheet. We can show you that later, or I could come out and show you how that works. I'm just going to make a brand new Google spreadsheet. I'm going to hit create. And what this does is it makes a new spreadsheet in my drive. It'll have the same title of the form. I didn't title the form, so this says untitled form. But it pulls in all the data into a nice spreadsheet format. It timestamps it when it came in. There's a column for the name. There's a column for the hardware platform. And obviously, the more questions I asked in the form, each question would have its own column. So I could sort these. I could add another column here saying, taken care of, yes or no, or addressed. So once it's in that spreadsheet, you can do all sorts of great things with that data to help you track your support for your folks at your school.
Hey Peter, could you share that form with other people or those responses in case there are two STRs in a building and they both need to have access?
You sure could. Once it's coming into this form, I could share this with whoever I want to, and we could both be looking at those tickets. If there's two STRs, we could even have a column saying Peter's taking care of this or Aaron's taking care of this, so we know who's working on which issue for which teacher. Great idea. And in forms itself, usually one person is kind of the maker of the form, but it is possible up here with these three little dots in the form, I can actually add collaborators. So if necessary, I could ask someone else to actually help me create this form, and we could both collaborate on the creation of the questions of the form. Teachers can do this too. A lot of teachers use Google Forms for exit tickets in the classroom, for surveys of their students, even for creating quizzes. Google just announced a new feature in Forms to make it a quiz. It's really pretty slick, and it'll give the kids instant feedback if they answer it, if they got it right or wrong, and what the correct answer was. So Google Forms is a really powerful tool, but as an STR, this is the most common use that we see, is using it as kind of a ticket system in your own school for you to help manage those help requests. Anyway, I hope that answers those questions out there. And again, all you STRs watching, all 3 or 4 or 5 of you, if you would like some help with this, we'd be happy to come out and help you get this set up and really make sure you understand how it works. All right. Any other questions in our Q&A, Aaron?
Nope. That's the only one.
That was the
that's been
one?
voted up. So
All right.
let's remind them where to go again, in case
Sure.
they want to vote up anything else we've already covered or put in their own question
Yep.
that we could answer.
Again, we've got 2 links. The link to our deck is this first tinyurl.com. And then the Q&A link is down here. It's goo.gl/slides/NJ8J96. If you go there, you'll see our question and answer area, and you can type in a new question. If you see a question that's there that you're like, yeah, that's one I want to answer, you can vote that up with the thumbs up.
Is there any way you can open a tab and show what I see? Show this one rather than yours so that
Let
they know
me
what they should be looking at there?
I might be able to. So if you go to that link,
It looks similar to
yeah.
that. It's just in orange or
Yep.
yellowish orange.
Yep. So
instead
here
of
are
blue.
some of the questions we're seeing. So you'll see these questions on your screen, and again, if you see one, you can hit the little thumbs up. It'll make that kind of flow up to the top because more people are interested. If you want to type in your own, is it just like a box on their screen, Aaron, where they type in?
Yep, with their
Yep.
little icon
At the very
right
top,
at the top.
there'll just be an empty box for you to type in your own question there.
Try this. Highlight that URL up there, that shortened URL. Yep, and try putting that in a new. There you
There
go.
we go.
That's what
All
everybody
right, this
else
is what you
sees.
should be seeing. You can ask a question right up here just by typing into this box.
Perfect.
So again, this is a new feature of Google Slides. They just added this Q&A feature as part of some presentation tools about 2 or 3 months ago. It's pretty slick. It's a nice way to do this sort of back channel and get some kind of live feedback from your audience if you're doing a presentation. Let's see, anybody out there have teachers using Google Classroom and having questions coming to you as an STR about Google Classroom? I'm not sure if that's an issue for you guys. On November 17th, there is going to be another STR session coming up, which is going to address more of kind of the technical issues about Chromebooks and Google and students' accounts. Obviously, Chromebooks are becoming a very popular hardware platform in our schools. And if you're not comfortable with those or not sure how to support those from an STR standpoint, please make sure you sign up for this November 17th webinar. And some awesome folks from our DoTS team and our SWAT team will be doing that webinar and answering some of those questions you might have. You know, how do I do a factory reset on a Chromebook? How do I, whatever. We don't have all those details right now, but again, that would be a great session to make sure you have on your calendar.
A couple of the questions that we didn't address that we do have seated in our Q&A Google session here is, how do I install extensions and apps for instructional use on student Chromebooks, Peter?
Great question, Erin. So this question here, some teachers who have Chromebook sets in their classrooms find extensions or apps that they think would be useful for instruction. Students do not, I think, have access to personally install those on their DPS Google accounts. But if you have a great extension you find, maybe it's a speech-to-text extension or some sort of writing annotation app that you think would be good for your students to have, or a math extension that would be useful, you can submit a hotline ticket, the teachers can, and request that app. And here at DoTS, they can actually open up that extension or app for your students' account. So when they log in, they'll see that extension or app as part of their choices in their Chrome browser. So if you have teachers that are asking about that, they can make those requests to DoTS through the hotline and get those added.
Also, how do I set a bookmarked page on a student Chromebook for easy access to resources or, say, the school's homepage on that Chromebook, Peter?
Yep, great question. So just to reiterate that question, if you didn't hear that, if you have a teacher that says, hey, I've got this, is there a way that I can get like a bookmark on Chromebooks so when my students log in, they see the bookmark or the shortcut to get to my teacher website or the Lion databases or whatever? Again, that request can be made through the hotline. Just provide them with the link that you want a shortcut for, and they can add that to your students' accounts. That'll only work if the students are actually logging into their DPS Google accounts on their Chromebooks. It won't work if they're browsing as a guest on their Chromebooks. But again, DoTS can hook you up with that.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, great questions. All right. David asks, we can use Google to create websites? And how do teachers save old work to Google?
Uploading files. Is that what they mean?
Maybe. I don't know. David, could you kind of elaborate on the how do teachers save old work to Google? I think what you're meaning is about uploading existing files, be they Word docs, PowerPoints, whatever. You can definitely do that and upload those to your Google Drive, and I can definitely show you how to do that.
And then from your Drive, you can put it in a new Google site, and it's pretty slick and easy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's look at those steps.
Sure. All right, so if I'm in my Google Drive, here I am in a drive. If I click on the New button, in addition to creating new things, I have two options here for File Upload or even Folder Upload. If I go to File Upload, then I'm actually going to be browsing my local hard drive on this laptop, for instance, and looking for documents that I might want to upload. And these can be whatever you want, PDFs, Word documents. You can store any files you want to in your Google Drive. Even some teachers who use Promethean like to store their flip charts in their Google Drive. You can't actually run a flip chart from your Google Drive, but you can use it as a storage place so everything is at least backed up to their Google Drive. Some documents you can upload into Google, and then Google will try to convert it into its Google counterpart. So it would take a Microsoft Word document, for example, and convert it into a Google Doc, which is then openable and editable in Google. You could upload a PowerPoint, and then Google can convert it into a Google Slides presentation. The conversion is pretty good. I'd say it gets you 90% of the way there. Some of the more kind of bells and whistles features like in PowerPoint may not come through perfectly, some of the animations or transitions, but the bulk of it will convert pretty well. You can upload, let's say, a PowerPoint as a PowerPoint into your Google Drive, but if you upload it just as a PowerPoint, you can view it, but it's kind of hands-off. You can't do anything with it besides view it. So,
Peter, if you were to open an incognito window there
Mhm.
in Chrome, could you show how to upload a?
sure, let me give that a shot. Because I'm sure Sam doesn't want me uploading stuff into his drive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, so, yeah, an incognito window probably wouldn't help.
Right.
Okay.
One setting you might want to be aware of if you're in your drive like I am. Over here there's this little tiny gear icon in the upper right hand corner. If I open that and go into settings, one of the options here is convert uploads. So I can either check this little box to convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. So basically, if I have a PowerPoint, for example, and I upload that, if this is checked, Google will automatically try to convert that into a Google Slides presentation. So if you want that sort of conversion, you can definitely do that. If that's not checked, it'll upload it as a PowerPoint, and then you do have the option, even when it's uploaded as a PowerPoint, to try to have Google open that with Google Slides, and it'll do that conversion even once it's in your drive as a PowerPoint. Hope this isn't too confusing. But basically, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and recreate everything in Google. If you have a lot of good stuff that's already created in other formats, try to bring it into your drive, upload it, and try the conversion and see if it comes through in a clean enough format that you can then edit it in Google. Of course, then you can share it with folks. It can become more of a collaborative document once it's in a Google format.
So you bring up a good point, Peter.
Uh-huh.
And slide 4 in our slide deck, if you could go back to that, we have an interesting fact number 3 there that says 24 terabytes of Google Drive space is right now used in DPS.
Mm-hmm.
That means is?
So, basically, in your Google Drive, native Google documents like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or a Google Slides don't count against your storage limit. Again, there is no limit in our educational domain, but they don't take up any storage space. The only thing that count towards using your drive space are kind of these foreign documents, like a video file or a flip chart, something that's not native Google.
Or a Word document.
Or a
that you're
Word
not
document,
converting and
right?
leaving
Or a
in Word
PowerPoint.
format.
Yep. So those sorts of documents are what are counted in this 24 terabytes of Google Drive space used.
So that means there's not enough conversion happening out there. Let's get our teachers to convert their documents.
Right. And the thing that we definitely don't want to see, but we still hear about, is people say, okay, I know about Google, I still like Microsoft, so I have my Word document, I'm going to upload it into my Google Drive, then I'm going to download it again, work on it, make the changes in Word, and then upload it again. It's like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of brain damage. So some people still don't quite understand the workflow of both. We do recommend, unless you're really invested heavily in Microsoft and just love those features, try using Google Drive and the Google ecosystem for your work, honestly. I mean, it's saved in the cloud. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my laptop fell in a puddle, now all my stuff's gone. Nope, it's in the cloud, it's saved. So
Peter, what does it look like to create a Google site? The new Google sites are so easy to use.
Google Sites? Sure, let's take a look at that. So yeah, was it, who, David Estrada was asking about that?
Yes.
All right. So again, if I go to my drive and I go to the New button, slide down to More, I now have Google Sites as one of these options. And here is the new Google Sites builder interface. Much different from the old Google Sites, if you're familiar with that. It'll give you a quick tour if you haven't done this before. You can watch the tour or skip it if you want to. Very simple, you know. They balanced simplicity and clean with kind of a few less features than kind of full-featured web building platforms. But I think for most teachers and for most educational purposes, this really serves a lot of good uses. So you can format a page title. There's some very simple options in terms of styles for text. You can add links in there. You can change the header type, banner, title only. You can really kind of tweak. So they're giving you a few options in these things. And you can change the background image there for your header. And then over here in the right is a very simple navigation page where you can add text boxes, images. This is where you can embed URLs. You can upload files to put on the website. And it's got nice integration with your Google Drive. So if you have documents in your Google Drive, you can click from Drive and browse right here for whatever you want to embed on your web page. Very, very clean, very simple. You can embed YouTube videos, calendars, maps, and again, you can go straight to a certain type of Google Doc if you know exactly down here at the bottom what you're looking for. Pages is where you can add new pages. It's very easy to create new pages and drag and drop them for the right hierarchy of pages on your website. And there's a few set themes that you can choose from. If you don't like a dark blue theme, they've got a few different color schemes you can choose from and a few different font styles. Again, you do not have all the bells and whistles, but this is still called in kind of early adopter mode. They're still working on this and making it better with feedback. Speaking of feedback, I don't know if we can quite see it, but way in the bottom left-hand corner of every Google app, there's a little exclamation point. They want feedback from users. So if there's a feature or something that you would like changed about a Google app, please make sure you send them feedback. They are very responsive to, especially teachers, feedback about making these products better. That's how Google Classroom has evolved and become a really good platform because teachers have given so much feedback to the production team at Google. You can preview your site in a bunch of different ways. If I hit the preview button up at the top, down in the bottom right, I can see what it looks like on a phone, for example, or on a tablet, or on a desktop. So it really is nice, and it'll reformat and size things correctly for those different platforms on the fly. When I'm ready to make this live, I just go up to the Publish button up here, and I can publish it, and it is live on the web. Another nice feature of Google Sites is, just like other documents, you can collaborate. So you could collaborate if you have a fellow STR, or maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, your teachers, maybe a department wants to work together to build a website. All 3 or 4 teachers in a department could collaborate and actually be building different parts of the website at the same time. So really pretty slick interface.
Can students build a Google site, Peter?
No, they cannot. So creating a site is not turned on for our students. That was a decision made when we launched our domain because there really is no way to have good oversight of a website if we just let students create them whenever they wanted to. What a teacher could do is they could create a site and then share it with a student and give the student kind of editing rights on the site. So that way the student has a place to publish, and if it's shared with that student, then the teacher kind of gets a notification when the student creates some new content and wants to publish it, but the teacher gets to say yay or nay before that goes live. So that's a way for teachers to get some supervision over student websites. So the teacher would create the website, and then they would hit the share button and choose to share that and make the student kind of an editor on the website.
So I'm going to go ahead and share a link to a YouTube video on how to create a new Google site in case anybody wants to
Awesome.
follow up on that.
Cool. Where are you going to put that link?
I'm going to put that in the Google Slides Q&A.
Okay. Excellent. So hopefully that gives you a little taste of Google Sites. You might want to, and again, our DPS EdTech newsletter is a Google site, so you can see this as a possible option for formatting. We've got the navigation over here on the left. Aaron chose a custom image up here at the top, so it's a nice clean interface. Looks great on all sorts of platforms and devices.
And you can see you've got a choice of putting your menu along the top or along the left, so that's pretty nice still.
Yep. Nice.
And the inserting for a Google Calendar or a document, a Google folder even, it'll list all the documents in the folder,
Yep.
an image, a video, super easy to pop those right into your Google site and make it look spectacular.
Yep. So if I go back to insert,
You can go right from your Google Drive down
Yep.
there at the bottom.
and if I insert a text box, it's a very nice drag and drop interface. I can move this around easily. I can resize this. So it's a lot more drag and drop visual than the old Google sites. I can choose what text size. This is just a text box here. And again, I can format this. Maybe I want to have, emphasis 2. So, and it's very easy to visually move things around. Kind of what you see is what you get kind of interface in terms of editing.
It's also very easy to link to other pages in the site.
Mhm.
The moment you have text and click a link, it will actually point to a bunch of different pages on your site and say, are you trying to link to the other pages on your site? Why, yes, I am.
Nice. All right. Any more questions here? Cool. All right, David. Hopefully that was good. Let's see. Nice. And Aaron put the link to a quick YouTube video you can see there in the Q&A if you want to watch that for some more details about the new Google sites. All right.
I'm also going to go ahead and put in a link to a YouTube video that speaks briefly to using Google Sites for student portfolios. And that's something more and more of our teachers in this district are looking for. So as Peter explained how teachers could make sites and give ownership to kids, kids can interface with Google Sites very easily and begin to use them as bodies of evidence for their entire educational career.
Yep. Very easy way for students to find work they've done in their Google Drive and push it right out to a website to publish it. In the old Google sites, there were some ways to kind of automate website creation for students. Hopefully that same functionality will be coming soon to the new Google sites, but it's not there yet. There was a utility called Site Maestro that worked with the old Google sites. That was a way, again, to automate. If you had a template website, you could say, please make a website for this list of students, and it would push those out. Again, that functionality, I don't believe, has been ported over yet to the new Google sites, but fingers crossed that's coming soon to make that process easier. All right.
Again, vote up those questions you have in the Google Slides Q&A.
Yep.
Or put your own question in.
Again, the Q&A link. It's this goo.gl slides link down here at the bottom of the screen.
Tammy says, this is great info, thank you.
Excellent.
If you've got teachers in your school who would like to learn how to use Google Sites to have a web presence for their classroom,
Mhm.
their parents are really wanting that, or your principal is asking your teachers to have a web presence.
Right.
This is the way to go. Super fun and easy to create a web presence using the new Google Sites.
Who could do that sort of training for teachers, Aaron?
That would be educational technology.
Yes, us right here, educational technology at dpsk12.org. Share that with your staff. Have them give us an email. We're happy to come out and help any way we can.
Put a bug in your principal's ear, in your dean, what is it? The
Instructional dean of instruction, yes.
Dean of instruction's ear, yes. We have a new top question. Let's see what it is. Oh, same one. How do I use Google form for STR help requests? We already had that one. Google Certified Educator Training, would you like to show them where that website is?
Do I know where that website is?
Perhaps.
So Aaron just mentioned the Google Certified Educator. So Google has a certification process. Basically, it's a test you have to take to be certified as a Google Certified Educator. If you are interested in that.
I am putting the link right in the Google Q&A for you.
Oh, okay.
But
Perfect.
if you Google Certified Educator, it'll give you the level 1 information.
Oh, David just asked if these training videos are available later. Yes.
This YouTube live STR
Yep.
session
Yep.
certainly is available. And those YouTube links, yeah, they're on YouTube.
Will they be on the STR wiki, do you think, Sam?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, but yes, we will compile those and probably push out an email to the STR list so STRs know where to go watch these if they want to see them for later. Great question. That's why we're recording it, for posterity. All right, so where did you put that? Oh, here it is. Okay, so Aaron added another link down here to the Google Training Center. Let me go ahead and grab that.
And this is just a great way to get the basics in Google.
Yep.
And encourage teachers who are really into it to go get their level 1 certified certificate. They'd be really pleased to do that, I
Yep.
think.
So it steps you through a whole training modules. There's different modules that you can go through. You can practice, you can see sample exam questions, and then to get certified, it's actually a 3-hour test, but it's not just multiple choice. They actually put you into a kind of testing Google domain and have you do tasks like create a new Google website and put this information on it. Or Miss Jones is a teacher in such and such and wants to schedule a parent-teacher conference. Could you add that to your Google Calendar? So they actually have you do real-life tasks in a fake Google domain to show that you can actually do these things. It's a pretty cool test. It's not free. The test is $10. So if teachers are interested in doing that, again, they could reach out to the EdTech team. We have some experience. We're all certified Google educators, so we can definitely share what we know about the test and help them get trained if they want to do that. It's a really nice certification. You can add that to your email signature afterwards and just give yourself a little bit of extra clout as
It's a great little badge.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep. And there's a level 1 and a level 2. So,
And then there's the certified trainer.
right, certified trainer as well, which Aaron is, and our other colleague Brian Dino are also Google certified trainers. That's a whole other set of hoops though. So,
We won't talk about
Yeah.
that.
all right.
Looking to see if anything is moving to the top of our Q&A. Looks like we've covered it all. Were we supposed to take attendance? Sam, did you say?
Where was that link,
Is
Sam?
that something you wanted to do?
Yes, I have the attendance link on the video description, but you can also.
On the video description?
Oh, there it is, tinyurl.com
Mhm.
/strpc-mac.
Where would
Yeah.
Where would it be?
So if you go to the scroll down.
Oh,
This is it.
session name?
No, right here.
Oh, in here. Ah,
That's it.
gotcha. All right. There we go, Tom Hanks. So there is an attendance link. So if you are here, so this is you, David and Cami and whoever else is here, go to this tiny URL, tinyurl.com/strpc-mac. Trust us, it's the right one. You can register your attendance, so we make sure that you get credit for attending this STR session. So make sure you do that or write that down before you head out, so you get credit for attending this STR session. And if there aren't any more questions in the Q&A, I think we can kind of wrap things up. Thank you so much for taking your time this afternoon, staying late at your school or wherever you are to attend this. Hopefully you got some great information on what you needed. Whoops, let me get over here. Here, I want me to show you one more thing.
Last slide.
Last slide, okay.
It's our goodbye slide.
Oh, yes. All right, there we are. So thank you so much for coming. Again, you can email our department, edtech, at dpsk12.org or educational_technology@dpsk12.org. Specific questions or help you need with STR stuff, please reach out to the hotline.
Don't be a stranger.
That's right. And make sure you look for the November 17th STR session coming up with more detailed technical information about supporting Chromebooks in your school and student Google accounts. So again, thanks so much, guys. We will send you out more details on where these live webinar recordings will be archived, so keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool. So stop streaming.
Gosh, where am I here? This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.